Hola, mi gente bella. Bienvenidos. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, my beautiful people. We are awaiting the full moon in Leo that comes in tonight after midnight in Eastern Standard Time. And we've also come out of an intense, very long first month and a half of 2025, right? We say, whoo, it was the longest year, but no, we're still in it and the year is just beginning. It just feels like it's so long because of all of the changes, all of the intensities, all of the fears that have come up. With the new moon in Cancer that we had about 2 weeks ago, we were invited to really take care of ourselves, to cleanse our space, cleanse our energy, to maybe update our self care routines, and to do what we needed to do to one, feel safe, two, prepare for the long haul. The changes that are happening in the US and the world are not changes that we're going to be able to manage or even transform or alchemize overnight. The changes come in where it feels like it's overnight, but they were years in the making. And now, so many of us, I think, are being invited to take care of ourselves, to understand that this is a fight, a revolution for the long haul, and to also make sure to revalue, to really reevaluate where we stand, because it is a time where we have to kind of stand up for what we believe in and to do activism to not performatively, but to do it in a way where it's how we live and breathe and where we include mindfulness and wellness in the process. Now, there's some people who might be listening going, well, I don't know what she's talking about. But remember that the changes that are happening are not all good changes for everyone. Some people wanted changes but didn't want it done this way. Some people wanted changes that would benefit everyone. And so we're in this highly stressful time of the US where it feels like we're on the edge of almost losing the existence that we know. And so, how do we manage that, right? How do we manage that? And how do we prepare to be able to be activists for the long haul? How do we prepare to be able to take care of ourselves so we can stand up and speak up? Well, the new moon was guiding us into that. If you haven't done that and you're like, well, I'm not sleeping well, I'm not taking care of myself, well, do it now. I have to say, I had a couple bad nights last week, and I don't sleep. Like my Gemini and my mutability of my chart really has had me not sleeping a lot most of my life. So when I see memes that have Tauruses that are sleeping and eating, I'm like, no soy yo. That is not me. So I'm like talking and talking and communicating and caring about people. Yes. But sleeping, it's a new thing. And just because, let's say, you haven't slept well in like decades, doesn't mean that you can't start anew. And so I've been really focused after I came out of the influenza A beginning of this year to get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep, to drink my water, to walk, even if it's inside the house because it's damn cold here in central PA, and just get what I need. We need to take care of ourselves because it's this time, the next 4, 5, 8 years, 10 years of this time on earth is going to require a lot from us. And I know that most of us are like, oh my God, I cannot, no puedo, it's too much already. But remember that if we maintain our foundation, if we um, revisit and review how we're going to show up, it'll be easier. I had a couple of conversations in the last couple of weeks with folks who really stepped up, right? A lot of Latina teachers and guides who really stepped up during the pandemic and taught and showed up and made offers and did free guidances and free groups and meditations, just like myself. And we realized that now we're showing up and we're being called to show up for our community in a different way. We're going to show up, but in a way that is not going to burn us out. And that is not just for us, it's for you as a mom, as a sister, as a brother, as a daughter. We need to figure out ways that as we hear the news and as we're distressed about what's happening in our community, that we also stay in touch with the awareness that our ancestors really had gone through so much, have lived through so much, and that each and every one of us todavía tenemos esa resiliencia, ¿no? We could be tired AF, but how we show up for ourselves is how we're going to be able to hold space for our families, our communities, our businesses, and really work towards long term gains, right? So just know that it is the long game, and taking care of ourselves is really, really key because I don't even need to say it. There's a lot of craziness going on out there in all different forms. So, on February 12th of 2025, right, which is tomorrow, right, the full moon graces us in Leo. So that's why I wore yellow because I was like, oh, let's bring it in. Although there was a little snow out there, I could be the sunshine, el sol brillando. And when it graces us in Leo, it's bringing a powerful surge of creative energy and emotional expression and the spotlight and individuality. So if you feel like you've been kind of like all deep within or worried or stressed about what's going on, it's a good time to book that therapy appointment because you may want to cry and yell and let it all out. It's a good time to go do some karaoke and sing your ass off if you've never done it before to let out that stress. And it's a great time to kind of step into your spotlight of shining the light upon the work that you do, who you are, what you are, and taking up the space that you really deserve to take up. And each and every human being deserves to take up space. Like, none of us should really be hiding or shrinking. And a lot of times, not only did our ancestors have to do this, but we have felt like we had to shrink, right? In a relationship with friends and family, and our work culture, as Latinos, as immigrants, as BIPOC, as just women, we have felt that. And so this is a time to embrace our inner radiance, to let our true self shine. And because Leo is really where it's at, right? It's the lion, it's ruled by the sun. It thrives on confidence, self love, and creativity. And under this full moon, these themes will be amplified. So whatever you focus on sharing right now, part of me wants to speak Spanish, pero ese es otro podcast. I'm going to do that in the other podcast. Nacimos Mágicas. Check it out if you haven't. Um, because everything is amplified, everything's more intense, and we've been holding a lot in, or maybe not. Expect to see some pissed off people out there, sharing their energy, expressing themselves. This is not a time for repression, but what I would say is pick who you're going to share your energy with, right? Pick who you're going to unload your pain with, and you could also use your creativity and your artistry to express whatever it is that you're feeling. So it's a great time for creative projects. Emotionally, Leo's energy invites us to reconnect with our hearts, right? With our heartfelt values, with what's aligned with our heart. If you've been feeling repressed, overlooked, or neglected anyway, scared, stressed, this full moon will urge you to step into your own power and reclaim your sense of self, your sense of dignity. It's about expressing yourself authentically and showing the world your uniqueness without fear or judgment. Now, I want to add to that, like, there's also spaces and places we have to be careful. Um, you know what that means and you know what that is for you. At the same time, make sure that you find spaces where you can share your heart, where you don't have to hold back, because we all deserve that. We all deserve to shine. We all deserve to be heard and seen and received. And that's a big part of this full moon in Leo. Now, if you've been holding back on your dreams and passions, the Leo full moon will give you the courage to voice them out loud, even if it's in your coaching group. And by the way, I'm releasing this today on Tuesday, but tomorrow during the day, we're going to have a 1 p.m. Gathering where it's called the Full Moon in Leo Bruja Oracle Office Hours. And if you've never taken a class with me and you're not in the School of the Healing Artes, it's $29.99 a month. And what you get is a new moon gathering during the evening, every new moon, where we set intentions and clear the space and connect and do some healing energy work and astrology and intuitive work. And then the full moon, what we do is we gather during the day, like usually from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we open the records. We talk about astrology, but we also open the records and everybody gets a question. So obviously, since everybody gets a question, the group is very intimate and small. If you've been looking for something like this, where it's not like a lot of time that you have to invest, but twice a month where you get to touch base with positive, uplifting Brujita community, check it out. I'll put the link in. Because tomorrow it's happening at 1 p.m. on Wednesday. So, in terms of relationships, right? This lunar phase might illuminate where your need for attention and recognition is either fulfilled or lacking. So you might be like, okay, let me assess. Do I feel seen? Do I feel heard? Do I feel the adoration that I want? Am I also giving the adoration? Because sometimes our relationship could get lopsided. We could get used to being the adoring one and we also want the adoration. And sometimes we are demanding that from the loved one and we're not giving it. And so what's going on there? Because Leo is all about adoration, and during this time you may feel compelled to ask, am I receiving the appreciation I deserve? And am I also giving the praise and affection others need? Pay attention to the dynamics of your closest bonds, as this full moon can highlight where you need more warmth or where you're offering it. On a creative level, right? We were talking earlier that there's so much going on with this new moon in Cancer. We're feeling so many feels with what's happening in the world collectively, on a political level, on emotional, mental, physical. And on a creative level, we can expect an explosion of inspiration. Leo's fire element encourages bold, fearless self expression. Whether you're an artist, an entrepreneur, or simply someone trying to infuse your life with more joy and beauty, now is the time to take risks, to push boundaries, to get your ideas out there, right? Like, I'm thinking of writing a one woman show and I've been thinking about it, but I'm like, well, Vanessa, you got to get to it. So I'm going to do, I'll light a little candle tomorrow and start putting the stories together. The Leo full moon is a cosmic green light for theater, for fun, for standing out, for storytelling, for stepping into the spotlight. Now, this moon is also called the snow moon, right? And I mean, we just had a little bit of snow here. The February full moon is traditionally known as the snow moon because it falls during the snowiest time of the year in the northern hemisphere. I mean, it's light. I don't think it's going to stick, but yes, we did get some. In Australia, snow may not be on the radar, but this season is marked by high humidity, bursts of rain, and golden sunshine, right? So in some parts, like the northern hemisphere, we're getting the snow. In Australia, we're getting golden sunshine and we're getting bursts of rain. So it's still like that type of moon. If the warm weather has been interfering with sleep, take it as a sign that you might just stay up late enough to witness the full moon in all its glory. And that's for people in Australia. But people in northern hemisphere, we've been freaking cold. So put on your coat, get the hat on, and jump outside and check out the moon, or check it out with a warm cup of tea as you gaze upon the full moon through your window. Now, what does this full moon invite us into, right? It's inviting us into being seen, into assessing whether we're appreciated or not. And because it's in Leo, we've all heard stories. I mean, about every sign, right? And we should never generalize because there's a spectrum of behavior, right? For all the signs, and we all have all the signs within us in evolutionary astrology. But it could bring out, because it's the full moon, the worst and the best, right? And so the full moon in Leo coincides with the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto in rebellious Aquarius. So they're fixed signs. Full moon is in Leo is a fixed sign. Then the Sun, our identity, in Aquarius right now. Mercury, how we think, our mind, and Pluto, slow, dramatic change that takes a long time, is in the rebellious sign of Aquarius. So you've got all this emotion and like, hey, I need the love and I want to be seen. And then you've got this Aquarian humanitarian energy. So just know that there's going to be some stubbornness going around, and a strategic approach will be required to navigate this period. So, watch for the way expansive Leo could impact your life. Are you digging in your heels and going, no, I'm not going to take a walk because I don't feel like it and it's cold out? Or are you going to go, well, it really would be good for me to take a walk just because I've been in the house all this time. I need to clear my head. Let me just put on the hat and get out there. Or no, I'm stubborn. I need to know what's going on with the news. I need to know what's going on. And you just don't want to get off the interwebs. Take a break. Don't let yourself be drained. I'll say it and I'll say it again. This is the long game. We have a long way to go during this shift and change on the planet. And for us to retain our human rights and take care of all of us and create freedom for all of us is going to take time. So take care of yourselves first. This will give you the energy to be able to show up for community and show up for the world, your family, and the work that you're doing in the world. And then it allows each and every one of us to treat each other better because we're taking care of ourselves. And so, therefore, we'll have more energy to be nicer, more empathetic, and more compassionate. At least that's my thinking. So what's coming up for the water signs? Leos are generally generous, but if you're a water sign, this could translate in overextending yourself towards the end of February. Do not overextend. Don't drain yourself. As you try to give everyone what they want. So water signs always do it. They're like, I want to love, quiero el amor, quiero amar a todos. No. And difficulty with saying no, like no is a whole word. So move along with it. Allow yourself to say no. Ensure you harness some of that loving energy and take care of yourselves, my beautiful Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Fire signs, fuego. Alternately, for more self focused and passion driven fire signs, check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? You might get too self involved. Knowing what you want is a good thing, but beware of looking for or demanding external validation or making decisions that are based on selfishness, right? You want to think beyond your ego. You'll be more emotional and reactive during this period. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Like you could be feeling like you're not getting enough attention or communication or love or the promotion you wanted didn't come through. But instead of being reactive, take a moment, take a breath, and communicate it in a way that could be more received, right? But you'll also have a ton of energy. So mindfully make the most of it. Time to create, time for passion as well, as Valentine's Day is also around the corner. And listen, I'm one of those people that thinks like love day is every day. Esa es la manera que mi mamá me crió. That's the way my mom raised me, like love day is every day. But at the same time, some people do celebrate Valentine's Day. Love days happening right after the full moon in Leo, no less. So think about your loved one and how you want to show up for them, or just be honest with them and clear and appreciate each other. Earth signs, I'm one. As a fixed sign, Leo is really arguably the earthiest of the fire signs. But if you're an earth sign, just make sure you don't let Leo's single-mindedness and desire for praise kind of cloud your judgment at work, right? So colleagues will be too distracted to acknowledge your hard work and insights. That doesn't mean that we're not appreciated. So earth signs, be careful because with the Leo there, you might feel like, oh, I'm not being, appreciated. Take a breath. Sometimes people are dealing with their own ish and just learn to appreciate yourself for now because this full moon is not a time to kind of call people to the mat on that, especially if you're an earth sign. Air signs. The full moon is in Leo, right? And it's going to highlight our need for pleasure and excitement. If you're an air sign, you already crave stimulation, communication. So make sure this adventurous Leo energy doesn't prove totally distracting. You need time. And so to make the most of it, let me recap. The Leo Aquarius axis is in full force this month, right? Leo fixed sign, Aquarius fixed sign, me, humanity, it's a push and pull. And the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto all in rebellious Aquarius. So it's like a lot of this, right? This combination stirs up restlessness, dramatic expression, and sometimes stubborn energy. So take a moment before you go tell off your best friend, thinking that you're going to tell her and tell them about themselves. Take a breath. Maybe do it a couple of days after full moon in Leo. Give it some time to relax. We could speak more calmly, etc. This is the time to follow your instincts and reflect on what you truly want. Write about it. Speak honestly. Embrace your self expression. Journal. Celebrate personal achievements. But please do avoid unnecessary drama. There's so much drama in the collective, so much shock and awe tactics. We don't need to emulate that on the microcosm, right? As emotions will be heightened and impulsivity may lead to regret. Don't fire anybody, don't ghost anybody, don't be like dramatically stomping out of somebody's life. Take a moment, create an amazing poem, create some painting, create something new in your life, decide to start something new. If you want, even though it's the full moon, because it's about expression, but just be careful not to do anything that you might regret and fully embrace Leo's confidence. And that is so empowering, right? And I think we all need a little more confidence at this time. I think that most of us are just going through a lot. I've been talking to a lot of people. People have been booking my astro potential session, which is when we look at your natal chart and then look at the whole year, the 2025 year, and assess how these cycles are going to affect you. If you're interested, I'll put the link in below. And so I've been hearing from a lot of people, and some people are so excited for this North Node in Pisces and all the creativity, and other people are kind of stressed out about what the changes in our government mean for them, right? And personally, I'm not happy with everything that's happening. So, again, I will hold firm that this is the long game. And the more we take care of ourselves, the more we'll have the energy to be aware and not be reactive. So, under this full moon, it's also a great opportunity to release because the full moon is the culmination, right? Generally, whatever sign it's in, a full moon is showing you like this big picture. What are we seeing? And accepting things that we didn't want to see because it shines the light on a particular area in our chart where Leo is that we're like, I don't want to look at it. Hay que mirarlo. Hay que verlo frente a frente. So, there's something that comes to mind when I think of full moon in Leo is like realizing something about just something in your life and calling a girlfriend or your mother or family member, or your partner, and being like, oh my God, and going all off about it and then just being calm about it and then celebrating something about your life. And just remember that we have the right to celebrate. We have the right to be joyful, even if there's a lot of pain going on in the world. The only way their ancestors made it while there was oppression and they were going through what they were going through is because they continued to love each other, to have celebrations. We need to be grateful for the good as we manage the inconceivable, the confusing, the unknown. So give yourself the permission that you also celebrate with joy anything that you feel like celebrating. Let go of any limiting beliefs. It's time for that. And keep and really assess what's keeping you from showing the world who you truly are, right? If there's ever been an area, any areas, right, where you felt less than or overshadowed or where you've like shrunk a little bit, take a small step, either through journaling, talking to a friend, or just doing something that you've never done that is fun to you, that seems like it could be fun. This is the perfect time to shed that old skin and to step into a more confident version of yourself. So during this full moon night that we're about to go into, because it's happening tonight after midnight Eastern Standard Time, honor your inner lion. Be bold in the pursuit of your passions. Bask in the love and admiration that you deserve. And remember that the world does need more light than ever, and that it starts with us, with what we value, how we love ourselves, and honoring the values that we carry within ourselves. Lions represent leadership, they represent loyalty, they represent a clan, right? Like there's one male lion and all these female lions. So don't be surprised if the women in your life or you as a woman might be a little more emotional and more pissed off during this time as we see rights being shifted in the US. And hold space for your sisters, hold space for each other, hold space for the divine feminine to rise and to continue to support us. I hope that this has served you. Espero que esto te haya servido, los haya servido. Por favor, if you have any questions, if you want to do a session, whether it's a quick reading, I do 15 minutes too, whether it's hypnosis or whether you want to take a class, let me know. I'm here and I'm sending you so much love on this full moon in Leo. Mucho, mucho amor. Thank you all so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.